Jafrikayiti, also known as Jean Saint-Vil, is an Ottawa-based author, radio host, and social justice activist who publishes in English, Creole, and French on his blog, jafrikayiti.com. He continually calls on Canada to stop interfering in the governance of his native Haiti. Thank you for joining us again on the Global Research News Hour.
Thank you for inviting me again, Michael.
The Kenyan forces dispatched to clean up gangster warfare in Haiti. This crusade does not include the US or Canada, unlike the mission from 2004, which kidnapped Aristide, the democratically elected leader of the country. Do you suppose they learned a lesson from those times to get, you know, black-faced individuals doing the dirty work the second time around?
Hmm. Unfortunately not, Michael. It seems like there is this desire to use Haiti constantly as a laboratory to test more imperialist invasions for other places, other parts of the world. That's the only way we could understand this desire to invade Haiti with troops coming from Kenya, like you mentioned, and places like Belize, the Bahamas. I mean, places where absolutely they do not have the ability to address the issue, and clearly it's a mobilization of mercenaries with the promise of money from the United States, Canada, to fund them. But there's also a lot of bluff in this whole thing because the troops that were announced never arrived. They're still under 1,000, whereas they were talking about over 3,000 soldiers or police officers, etc., and equipment. And as we speak, the situation in Haiti is such that the terrorists who have encircled the capital city are continuing to take more territory, and there's internal displacement in the country as there's never been before. Foreign troops in Haiti has not at all improved the quality of life of Haitians, but what they have done is secure the U.S. Embassy, a place that was already secure. So a lot of people are asking themselves, what is really going on here?
Hmm. Well, they say the mission is to protect people from the violent gangs. I mean, could you say a little bit more about what these forces are really doing in Haiti?
Well, there were a lot of criticisms because when there was a switch in terms of governance there's a transitional council in Haiti, and the person who's leading it now, um, uh, Leslie Voltaire, made the point that, he doesn't have any connections with his criminal terrorists, therefore he's going to go after them. And he started to go after them, and there started to be talk of a marriage between the population and the police, and they did eliminate a number of the terrorists through community activism, people who basically stand on guard for their community and work hand in hand with the police, and because the judicial system itself has also been taken over by the PHTK, or the Parti Haïtien Tête Calée, led by Michel Martelly, which the Clintons imposed on Haiti after the earthquake in 2010. People don't trust the judicial system. So many of the terrorists who get neutralized by police and the population end up being lynched by the population. You can see that this is not something that can be sustainable in a country. Sooner or later, there's going to be people who are going to abuse those opportunities to, murder people that they don't like when they don't have anything to do necessarily with the terrorist activities. You cannot really say that there's been a major turnaround, because what's happening is that within that governing body of that's called the Conseil présidentiel de transition, they forced many political parties to cohabit. And some of these folks are known to have been part of the criminal regime that the Clintons had imposed on Haiti since 2011. And the latest, that this happened a couple of days ago, Jimmy Cherizier Barbecue, this former policeman who's, the spokesperson for the terrorists that they usually refer to them as gangs. Um, he basically went on the air and identified some of these politicians who were part of the PHTK regime, namely Claude Joseph, who were part of the folks sitting down in Jamaica with the CARICOM to decide, who's going to be part of the transitional government of Haiti. And now the head, the spokesperson for the terrorist, who wants to be recognized as a political party, went on the air explaining in fine detail how he was being paid by Claude Joseph, who was then prime minister, because of his own implication in the assassination of Jovenel Moïse. And he paid that's the accusation, that he paid Barbecue and his terrorists so that they don't demonstrate in the streets after the killing of Jovenel Moïse, because Jovenel Moïse was close to the terrorists, and they knew that his prime minister, Claude Joseph, was from the same party as him, the PHTK, was implicated in the assassination of Jovenel Moïse. What they didn't say, that is, with U.S. complicity, because as has been observed after the assassination of Jovenel Moïse, a strange situation where it's the FBI that went into Haiti, conducted its own investigation, went to the crime scene, took evidence, and even some of the folks who were found to be guilty in the assassination of Jovenel Moïse, they were taken to the United States. And you had a judge in the United States saying that they need to put a gag order on some of the proceedings of the court in order to protect national security of the United States. I mean, this is a way of saying that the United States was implicated, through companies like the CTU that is based in Florida, and the Haitian oligarchs who are based in Florida, who used Jovenel Moïse as a puppet president, and then when he was no longer useful to them, decided to kill him. And so there is a lot to unpack in what's happening in Haiti today, and certainly, mercenaries coming from Kenya, because Samuel Ruto wants to buy the favor of the West, is not going to solve anything, but rather make this mess a little bit more complicated and more difficult for the Haitian population to do what it takes to solve a problem that affects them primarily.
When we've spoken in the past, you talked about something that's kind of constant, this hierarchy, or at the top of the hierarchy are a few white families.
Mhm.
And you like, as long as that's in place, I mean, nothing's going to change. I will point out, however, that Global Affairs Canada in December of 2022 listed Gilbert Bigio,
Mhm.
Reynald Deeb, and Sherif Abdullah as the target of sanctions in December of 2022. The Global Affairs Canada said the conduct of Haitian elites who provide illicit financial and operational support to armed gangs, and they impose a dealings prohibition on them, effectively freezing them any assets they may hold in Canada. Is that not, in some sense, instances of standing up to those big boys directing things in the country?
Well, I'll put it to you like this, Michael. Imagine it was in Montreal that this was happening, and that it was, the richest person in Canada would have been, a Haitian immigrant, let's say, in Montreal. And then you would find out that this person has been funding terrorists who've been kidnapping Canadians in Montreal, in Toronto, in, Halifax. And then, what would be the punishment for this person? Like they would stop them from trading certain things, or would they arrest them and put them in jail for the rest of their lives? Okay.
Hmm.
So what we're saying is that this is not even funny. because Gilbert Bigio, who is said to be the only billionaire of the island, so possibly the richest person of the Caribbean. Okay, so if this person and Canada, the United States have said that they have information about this guy, not the United States actually, Canada. See, that's another game that they play. Bidjo is in Florida, but it's Canada that's put Bidjo in the list, and the United States doesn't put Bidjo on their own list. But if this person is indeed involved in all of these things, and it's really documented, there are some one of the leaders of those paramilitaries, Arnel Joseph, who before he was killed in February 2021, explained how two oligarch families, namely the Bijos and the Deebs, were fighting each other using these terrorists who are called gangs. And they are the ones who get weapons to come in. And Bijo, having been the consulate of Israel for 25 years in Haiti, had diplomatic immunity. He has his own private port that he owned as a joint venture with Michel Martelly. And therefore, these guys were getting weapons, illegal weapons, in the hands of these young folks in the communities. And so you have all of this information. It cannot be, you're absolutely right. It was December 5th, 2022, when Global Affairs Canada put the names of these three white oligarchs. These were the first three white oligarchs ever named because of the pressure from folks, namely in the Haitian community, that kept on saying to Canada, you cannot be saying that you're serious about helping Haiti when even in this particular instance of crisis, you refuse to distance yourself from this white supremacist minority in Haiti that has been wreaking havoc on the island for decades. And so Bidjo is still in Florida living large. His son, Ruben Bidjo, who's running his empire, still manages Port Lafitte and all kinds of other assets. And these people are not the ones who are running for their lives or, unable to live normal lives in Haiti. They use helicopters and they fly above all of the mess. And so I'm not sure they're being sanctioned, and there's no one to verify those so-called sanctions. And even if these sanctions were applied as they were applied after the coup in 1991, there's nothing to show that they haven't left loopholes for them to circumvent those so-called sanctions, because we're talking about billionaires among impoverished populations. And so a simple example, let's say you have 12 million people in Haiti. They have to eat every day. Okay, Bidjo has a monopoly on almost everything that people eat in Haiti, and he's the one importing them. So what kind of sanctions is going to hurt this guy when in fact he's in Florida and the United States has not taken any sanctions against him? Therefore, he can move his money, and there's no sanction against the rest of his family members. These guys have all kinds of tricks in order to circumvent those so-called sanctions.
Yeah, I gotta call you at there, Jean Saint-Vil. But thank you so much for your time and your analysis. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to Global News Network for doing this. You've been doing amazing work over the years covering Haiti as it should be. Much regards.
Jafrikayiti, aka Jean Saint-Vil, is an Ottawa-based author, radio host, and social justice activist. Find all his recent writings and broadcasts, including of the podcast God Is Not White, on his website, jafrikayiti.com.